So obviously, like all businesses, like smaller startup businesses, bigger businesses are like going crazy about AI, and obviously it makes sense on the stuff that is a kind of a no-brainer to just like utilize it. And don't like get me wrong, all businesses should like learn to use AI for the benefit. But at the same time, it's kind of interesting because it has opened this new kind of a market, or more like a niche in the market for things. Not just because of AI, but just because everything is so like digitalized. People are craving not just for real organic content that isn't scripted by AI, like a real stuff, real like human interaction, um, but also for like physical products. Physical products are quite different. Recently, for example, my feed has been full of like people buying uh, iPods. I think that's what it's called. Like MP3 players, and people just like are like fuck streaming platforms, fuck Spotify, and then they just use these iPods. So there's a bunch of people who are just hungry for like physical products that just like do what it's supposed to do. Like people are kind of getting sick of being milked money out of them as much as possible and having ads shoved in their face as much as possible and just getting like used in all possible ways. So what my point is that in like tech, for example, I think like a Valve is like a big huge game company. They released new like a PC console whatever thing, and they got praised for the fact that they didn't mention anything AI related, which is kind of funny. They got so much praise and people were so happy when there wasn't anything AI related in a like a huge like a tech game company, so and like a leading game company. So it's just so funny how now you can, instead of being like, hey, AI, new cool stuff, AI tech, which is obviously that stuff is gonna sell, but there's all like a lot of people who are just excited for non-AI stuff. If that makes sense, it is quite interesting. So my point is that let's take like a music industry for example. Artists who are going to can like potentially make huge bank is if they sell like physical products. Obviously, like there are like CDs, vinyls, merch, all of that stuff. But if you start like if you're a bit more creative with it, you can just make a huge bank. And if you like, and you can like really separate yourself from the rest. The point is that as everyone is losing the minds over AI, at the same time people are getting super fed up with AI. These are a bit different things, but people are also like getting super fed up from like being shoved like ass in their face and just being like used as much as possible like by streaming services and so on. So it's funny that now if Apple would release an iPod, just like a more updated version of it, that will sell like crazy. That will sell like crazy. But I'm not sure if that makes sense for Apple or if Spotify or other streaming platforms are gonna like let that happen. But yeah, it is kind of interesting, and this can be like utilized as many ways because as AI is becoming like more involved in everything, also like the other side is gonna become more important, like the what is like unique to humans, human interactions and so on, like what is unique about humans. So you kind of need to like choose like you're gonna go all in on the AI stuff with whatever like business you're running, or are you gonna be one of those people who is gonna become expert on the human things and find the value in those things, you know? So for example, I can make videos about like, oh, this like new AI thing is gonna make you rich and yada yada. This is how AI will make you rich with your business or whatever. Or I could go in the way that me yapping about AI, how it's gonna change things, for a YouTube title, and then I can like add into the title. I'm like, it's a positive thing that I market my video as a no AI used. Like think about like the kind of the new album Bully. I mentioned somewhere that no AI used. So that's gonna be like a luxury from now on. So if you don't use AI for your content, and that's kind of the way you wanna go, like more authentic, like obviously this is, you could just like put in the title or somewhere in the thumbnail that like no AI being used or something, and people are more excited to watch that because let's face it, like in the business niche and in the especially in the guru niche, like everyone just fucking copies everyone. Everyone does the same fucking shit because everyone is doing this thing that, oh, that kind of like thumbnail and title worked, so let me just like do that and change it into mine. You know, this is the like advice that all these like business people like give on YouTube, and then everyone follows it. That's the reason why you see like million fucking zillion same fucking like video pop up on different creators with the same fucking title all the time. So the funny thing is, if you just literally, I mean, obviously it works to some extent, but like if you actually want to like stand out from the group, you can just like kind of do the opposite and just be authentic and just say what you think, and just like make the title like super like casual, you know, whatever like comes to your mind. So it's gonna separate yourself from this like copy paste fucking slop that is scripted by AI. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's just there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like kind of a different style, if that makes sense. You know, like I'm not like saying AI scripted videos are like horrible or anything. It's just, you know, different type of content, if that makes sense. But yeah, use it to your advantage. Like there's a lot of people who want to see non AI stuff, and if you want to create that kind of stuff, then like market it as such. You know, it's just a bit of a different niche. Like for example, for me, for myself, I think like what I would want to see, and I think there's a market for this kind of stuff because I want it. So it's pretty likely that some other people want it too. But like everything is so like the production quality in a lot of people's videos are quite good, and but everything is just so high production and so like high, so intense and fast cuts, and everyone is talking like this. You know, this is the best thing and so on. It is quite like exhausting, and to hear that obviously it's just like copy paste stuff from others or some AI bullshit. So I'm kind of like craving for the kind of content that is something. It's almost like a has this kind of like a real like chill vibe. It's kind of authentic, and it doesn't even need to be something that you think is gonna bring like huge value to you. Like, oh, this video is gonna let me know how you can get rich in like 1 hour or something. But it's more like this kind of comfortable, chill, like relaxing yapping, like real authentic yapping. I don't know if that makes sense. But sometimes, you know, like instead of like listening to like interviews, podcasts or whatever, you wanna listen to that kind of stuff when you're like doing something physical, walking to somewhere or something like that. That's something that I would wanna see more. You know, casual yapping like this. So obviously I guess that's something that I would do myself more. But I wouldn't be surprised if more people start doing it. And there is gonna be more people. I have like heard, maybe it's just my feed, but I have heard like people talk about it, but I haven't actually seen people like, do it that much. More like casual videos, especially like in the business niche. But yeah, I think the other side, like the hyper edited and scripted and hyper production videos on the business niche is kind of like super popularized and saturated kind of. So now I guess like more people are gonna lean into the other side, if that makes sense, which is cool. I think that's cool. You know, I think like there needs to be more content like that. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like maybe at some point, because I like to kind of like switch things up and try different things. Maybe like usually I try to I enjoy authentic stuff myself, so the videos are not too scripted. But maybe like someday I wanna do like a BSL for something. Like for example, I'm like gonna launch like a clipping community where I like teach people, you know, how to run their own like clipping campaigns and armies. So I would probably might like do VSL for that. Once in a while, I might like kind of like do more scripted stuff, and it's totally fine. But the main point of the video is when a lot of the focus and all of the hype is moving towards AI, as it should, naturally. It kind of creates like this whole new market of people being so hungry for like normal stuff, normal, authentic, raw content, raw like products, and like physical products too. You know, no subscription, no ads, no like streaming stuff like that. You know, just do like whatever kind of business you're running. I think that's something to keep in mind, that there is like that whole like new small market of people who are into that stuff. So something cool to keep in mind. I guess that's the point of this video.